Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty Roundtable Radio Talk Show.
Lance Migliaccio, Donald Trump, Mike Lindell, the Senate. We're just getting started. Let's get right to it. Happy to have you along, my fellow Americans. Lance Migliaccio, the Big Mig. Senate departs D.C. without passing the Save America Act. Now, I'm not a Save America fan in the first place, so that's fine with me, but everybody's melting down over this one, Lance.
Yeah, look, it seems to be that John Thune doesn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. What did they take, another 37-day recess? These guys get more vacation days than anybody I know. And ineffective.
Yeah, kindergartners get less. Did you know that?
Ineffective. Yes, I would say this is the worst and most ineffective Congress we've ever had. John Thune, it is what it is. I can't figure out why anybody is continuing to let him have that leadership role. He's worthless. But listen, they don't want the SAVE Act, the Republicans and the Democrats. Neither one of them want it. They don't want voter ID. How are they going to install their candidates? How are they going to lie to the American people? How are they going to cheat? If everybody has to have voter ID, you see the voter rolls. They won't even provide those voter rolls. I'm wondering, do you think the head of the post office is still going to not send out the ballots to the states that don't provide the voter rolls to be cleaned up? What do you think is going to happen there?
No, they're going to send out the ballots in spades, buddy. Just vote early and vote often, Lance, is what they want you to kind of believe. Anyway, I'm not really a SAVE Act guy, and I'll tell you why. Not because I don't want accountability, but because accountability, if you're really going to have it, happens at the local level. So you got to go to the precinct level if you really want real, honest accountability. Rolling it up to the feds just means more scandal, more confusion, and less accountability. If you don't believe me, what at the federal level has accountability, and what at the federal level runs correctly? Just saying.
I think an important part of that question is what at the federal level actually works.
Right. Exactly.
My question is
what functions right? What's not off the rails? What does what it's supposed to? Even the things that are legitimately delegated to it aren't working right. And the more it's legitimately authorized or delegated by the people, the less it works properly in the first place. So it's a disaster. All right, Trump backed Mike Lindell, refuses to concede Minnesota primary. He says there's voting anomalies. And my pillow Mike Lindell, he says, hey, the problem is he lost by roughly 11 percentage points to Lisa, how do you say her name? Demuth, I think it is.
I don't know.
So Elisa Demuth beat him by 11 points. And now Demuth, I guess, is supposed to face Democratic nominee Senator Amy Klobuchar in the midterms. And so Mike's just saying, I'm not going to concede this thing. I think there's a problem here. I think Mike's right. The problem is I think that he's being literally shut down by those who are supposed to be his friends. Those who publicly agree that this is a problem aren't doing the things that it would take to get accountability here. And so he's almost being shut down by higher ups that are his friends that pretend they're on his side. I'm starting to believe that, Lance.
It might very well be true. I'm not a Mike Lindell fan, so it's hard for me to really take this from a neutral position. For some reason, he makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I can't explain it. I'm not saying it's deserved. I just have a number of reasons over the years, that the information that I've accumulated, even in my own case, it makes me uncomfortable. He makes me uncomfortable. So here's my point. I think this. It may very well be true. But honest to God, do you feel like there's a free and fair election at any level?
No.
State, county, federal? I mean, I don't think so. I think we've got a third world system. It's a third world country when it comes to our election systems. That's where we're at.
And the actions that could solve it, we're not taking those actions at all. We're taking actions that just basically put more and more feds in charge, moving elections further and further from the people. And I'm telling you, that's the wrong direction to go. If you want to solve this, go to the precinct level, make everybody swear under the penalty of perjury to the accuracy of the vote count, so they have to sign off under the penalty of perjury. I have to do that for my taxes. It ought to be good enough for election officials, right? And make it local and video every ballot, same-day voting. You got to go into the polls to vote. You can't, unless it's a real absentee ballot requested by the person, not just sent out to everybody. Shut down mail-in voting. All these things could happen, and we could deal with it at the precinct level. That's where the answers are. The answers are government governs closest to the people. governs the best. And everything they're doing is trying to move elections further from the people. That does not bode well for accountability, that's for sure. Anyway, like or dislike Mike Lindell, he's better than the alternatives, that's for sure. But I think he's already been shut out of the mix. So we'll keep an eye on that ball as he says there's voting anomalies. The problem is we have a tough time getting proof to the courts. That seems to be a serious issue as well. We don't really get the courts dealing with the merits of what's really going on. All we get, as far as I can see, Lance, is we'll talk about it. This is dismissed. You don't have standing, and we never really discuss the real core issues of the case. All right, there's a massive deal here. I don't know how to handle this. They call this a massive ICE sweep. Over 1,200 people arrested in Atlanta. And they say it's serious immigration enforcement. And they call it Operation Safe Community. And they say over 1,200 people, over half of them are hardcore criminals. And the debate is what's going to happen to them. This initiative has sparked discussion on the approach to the immigration enforcement and the impact on communities. And the bottom line, as far as I can see here, we talked a lot about immigration. We really had a lot in the news. But what's really happened is it's been an epic failure, too. We haven't really deported a lot of people. We've done some. We've got a few criminals off the streets. I mean, I'm not saying that nothing has happened, but we haven't moved the needle near like we were told or hoped would happen, Lance.
You know, I saw an interesting statement made by Greg Bavino, as you know, previously with the Department of Homeland Security. We've been told that, there's 30 million illegal immigrants here in this country. I think that's the number that we were getting given by the government at this point, 30 or 35 million. Bavino says it's more like 107 million. Now, I don't know which number's right. I would guess that the reported 30 million is probably incorrect. I would think that Bavino might be high, but of course he was in the know. If anybody would know those kind of numbers, you would think it would be Greg Bavino. The question is, 1,200 versus 35 million. At 1,200 a week, I don't know how you get the 35 million out, let alone if it's 107 million. Those numbers are way too low. Of course, they're being pushed back at every level, just like the judiciary, like you mentioned a minute ago. We've got an ineffective and untrustworthy judiciary at both state and federal. We've seen a weaponization of AGs, those 22 AGs that signed a document that they were going to conspire against Donald Trump at the state level. You saw that just came out a day or so ago. I don't know. Sam, I'm not sure this is
for all
fixable.
that stuff, though.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's seditious conspiracy. I think you're subverting federal elections.
I'm going to work with the illegals and the terrorists and conspire against the president of the United States. We don't call that an insurrection, but I stand on the courthouse, or I stand on the steps of the Capitol, and I say, you know what, I want accountability on elections, and they arrest me or whatever, and say, oh man, you're guilty of seditious conspiracy. By the way, that got dismissed against Stuart Rhodes too. That's good news, but yet we can't do any helping him get back on his feet after we abused him for years and years and years. Anyway, I don't think that we're taking this immigration thing seriously. We talked big about this. Hey, we're going to have this in Florida. What was that thing called? That Florida detention center that was a big deal.
Oh, yeah, the Alligator Alcatraz.
Okay, and now they're disassembling that as far as I understand. Nothing happened. It was a big old to-do about nothing.
The laws of the United States are pretty simple, right? Equal application of the law, equal protection of the law. The statutes are defined. These people that come into the country illegal are illegal invaders. They're criminals. They have no rights. They don't get any constitutional rights. They don't get any civil rights. They're a criminal that invaded our country. I think that, that's the whole thing that bothers me. You're right. There's a weaponization of our system where Stuart Rhodes is guilty, but everybody else that's on the left or what's part of their narrative, not guilty. It's not equal application of the law, but here's
we're
the bottom
seeing
line.
this. We thought it would change under the Trump administration, the Kash Patel administration, whatever you want to say, and we don't see any of it. That's the problem. I don't mean to attack Tom Holman or anybody else because I think they're trying, but I think they've got their hands tied, and I think that they're not able to speak out about it for what reasons, I just don't know. But it's tragic. Now they say there's a big warning. I guess there's a bunch of jury duty scams targeting Americans, and this one actually happened to me before I saw this story. They say a worrying new scam involving jury duty is sweeping across the U.S. What they do is they call you and they say, hey, we're the law enforcement and you've missed your jury duty and therefore, you're going to be in big trouble and da-da-da-da-da. Well, they called me and said that to me, and here's what I did when they did that. I knew it was a scam from the start. and they said, Sam, you missed jury duty, and you're going to have some fines, and you can solve these fines now, or else the fines are going to go up, and they'll probably put you in jail if you don't resolve these fines quickly. So here's what I did. When he said that to me, I said, listen to me. I think you're on to something serious. This is big. This is a big deal. I don't want to go to jail. I'm scared. But the good news is I actually know the judge. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to three-way you in with the judge, and we're going to talk about this immediately. Okay, hold on. Buddy, he hung up so fast his head spun. And I just laughed and went away. Folks, don't fall for this crap. It's insanity. But just tell the guy, just say, I know the judge. He's a friend of mine, and we can work this out. Hold on a minute. Let me three-way him into the phone call. And I'm telling you, they'll hang up so fast it's not even funny. And if he didn't hang up, I was going to basically do this voice, thing. You know how Phil Hendry in the old days on the radio used to do that? I was going to be the judge and myself, and I was going to be like, Judge Rogers. Yeah, this is, right? Hold on, everybody.
Introducing PrepStartsNow.com, your ultimate guide to readiness and peace of mind. We offer practical preparedness tools, training, and education to take your family's household readiness to the next level. Browse the prep shop for essential products, check out our planning guides, and stay informed with our prep blog. Visit PrepStartsNow.com and subscribe to our emails for exclusive offers, new products, and future events. Remember, preparedness begins with PrepStartsNow.com.
If Planned Parenthood were what they publicly declare themselves to be, they would welcome transparency. We all know why they hide, because we know what they hide. We can confirm federal judges who follow the Constitution rather than reverse engineer their preferred policy outcomes. The truth about abortion is spreading because of advances in medical imaging, because of brave journalists, tireless activists, compassionate doctors, nurses, and other healthcare professionals. The rising generation of young Americans is the most pro-life in decades because they know too. And one day soon, we will reaffirm our nation's principles in their dignified fullness and avow once again that all men are created equal. All are entitled to life.
All right, everybody. So there's a big old jury scam. They'll call you up and say you missed your jury duty and you're going to get fined and go to jail. And anyway, I just three-way with the judge, tell him I know the judge, and three-way, and then I'll just basically do my voices. I'll do like the fluffy comedian style, and it'd be like the judge is fluffy and I'm Sam Bushman. I'm like, Judge Rogers. And then, the fluffy voice would kick in and just start telling you all about, and I don't think these people will stay on the line. They're scammers, and they know they'll get found out quickly. And then what I'd start doing if it were me, just so we could catch them, instead of really doing a fake judge and a comedian routine, I'd really three-way in with the cops and see if we can start tracing the calls and this kind of stuff. Guys like me can keep them on the line for a pretty long time. Anyway, they tried this scam on me, and it didn't work before I ever saw the story. But the problem is people are losing millions of dollars over this stuff, so I want to make sure people are aware of it. Speaking of that, Kash Patel's in the news, and here's the headline. FBI declares war on Southeast Asian billion-dollar scams. And so Kash Patel says he's going to annihilate the networks targeting Americans. It's a big, huge deal. Kash is going overseas to get to the bottom of it and everything else. I hate to say this, but I don't have any confidence whatsoever, Lance. In fact, I think these scams will just get worse.
Yeah, I think he's talking about one of the big scams that I think they're directly involved with the FBI is working on as the pig butchering, where they cloud mining, as an example, crypto cloud mining, where they act like it's a cloud platform and you can invest so much. And because it's on the cloud, you're going to get these crazy returns. There are transnational Asian gangs. They're cooperating in multi-countries. Is he really going to do it? I don't know. It's pretty difficult. I don't know that it's that easy. They set up these fake websites. They set up referring sites that confirm this website has one of the best cloud mining platforms. It's a major, major issue. I have a lot of information on this story if we ever really want to delve in. But that's what he's focused on, because you're right. They are converting a lot of people. You put the money in, it compounds, you see it in the console, and then they tell you you made a mistake and you've got to deposit more money to fix the mistake. If you don't deposit that money, you're going to lose all your original money plus all your profit. Yada, yada, yada. Now, that's just one of the scams that these transnational
and victims are stupid enough about this thing where many of them are really literally willing to sell homes, take out large loans, cash out retirement accounts. I mean, this is insanity. I don't know why people would really fall for this stuff. To me, it seems too obvious. But they say Kash Patel recently traveled to Thailand and Cambodia to deal with this stuff. I don't know why on earth you'd go there physically because this is all virtual. What are you going to do, Kash? Bust in and do like a takedown or something? They say Americans lost over $10 billion to these South Asian scams. Anyway, at the end of the day, I appreciate Kash going after it. I agree it's a serious issue, but I have no confidence that he'll get anything done, Lance. I just don't.
Well, I'll say this. You know, the blockchain is forever, right? They can locate and they can claw back this money for these Americans if they really want to.
Only if they really want to.
Correct. And there's an Israeli group that are ex-Mossad guys that run an operation that I know about. And they can track the money down to the last wallet it went to. They're very sophisticated. But I know that they told me that when they've tried to reach out to the different agencies that are in charge of this with the federal government, meaning the FBI and specific groups within the FBI, they have been unable to get a response. So I agree with you. They're talking a mean game, but talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words. Are they going to really get something done? I sure hope so, because I'd like to see all those Americans get their money back. And I'd like to see these
I agree
guys
100%. I'm just telling you right now, what have you seen from Kash so far? Promises and no delivery, baby. So that's why I'm so jaded about this. And I'm not trying to be negative. I pray this happens. But I just don't see it because they've talked. And the only people that go to jail, the only people that really have trouble, the only people that really have lawfare against them are anybody who's trying to do any good for the country. They're getting slam-basted. Ask the J6ers. Ask, people that are trying to stop the IRS from their abuses. And ask, it goes on and on and on. And so if you're really for the country, you're going to get abused and maligned and run out of money and harassed. But if you're on the take and you're a criminal, then it just seems like, hey, all the oxen free, no harm for you. Anyway, enough of that, but I wanted to just alert you to those two scams. I also want to bring this up before the end of the hour because in a way it's kind of funny. Surveillance showdown is the headline. U.S. citizens rebel against nationwide car tracking networks. What am I talking about? Flock cameras. As flocks, they call it safety, license plate readers proliferate on American roads, capturing data on every car that passes. These high-tech cameras now active in every state except for Alaska, they say. Anyway, there's legal challenges. There's a lot of governments that are trying to now stop them and switch away from them, but they're everywhere. But Americans are taking saws to the surveillance states, and cameras are catching people and filming it. Here's a quick video. There's a quick one, and then we'll play another one. We'll talk about this with Lance. Here it is. Check this out. Crazy.
This is No Mark, the masked vigilante who vowed to destroy every flock camera in his city.
The technology Flock has could be used for good, but it's being used to stop people.
Do you think we're headed towards some sort of surveillance state?
Yeah, I think these things are definitely paving that way. Wouldn't be surprised if their mission is just to get one on every single street everywhere.
What happens if that is the case?
I think we lose all freedom. Minneapolis, St. Paul area specifically, it's like the land of 10,000 Flock cameras. We're gonna go on this side of the street, come up around behind it so it doesn't catch us at all.
We're in a very nice neighborhood right now. What's going through your head?
I'm just hoping that no one sees me and thinks I'm like a burglar or something. Put on gloves. I got this little tool I use to snip the wire.
And you're pulling out a sticker to block the lens?
The wire I'm cutting is for the solar panel that charges it, because even after the wire's cut, it will still record.
Okay, he's going in. He's going in to deflock the camera. Okay, he's deflocking the camera. The sticker is on. Okay, it is blinking red. It was that quick. It's been deflocked. The sticker is now obfuscating the lens itself. And then look at this. The cable itself has been cut. Right over there, you see the flock camera. Solar panel fueled. What's going through your head?
Hoping a cop doesn't pass right now. That'd be really unfortunate.
Okay, he's going in. The deflocking process has begun. He's deflocking the cameras. It's been deflocked. He's going in for the cable. Crack, snackle, pop. Cable clipped. Duct tape on the camera. Another one down.
I think that might be the flock camera over there in that street.
Oh, yeah. He's going in for the flock. Tape is on. Flock number 3. This will be 3 flocks.
And another one bites
going
the
for
dust.
the cable. This cable
and another one
a
gone.
bit thicker.
And another one gone.
And don't forget,
I think
Sam, I
the
have to head out
technology
here in a
Flock
few
has
minutes.
could be used for good.
Another one bites the dust.
Being used to
All right,
stop
go ahead
people.
and stop
It's being
that.
used to
That's
stop
enough of that. But Lance, your comments really quick, then we'll let you fly.
I guess George Orwell got it right. Big Brother is watching. No end of it. I even have that right behind me on this painting that a friend of mine made for Big Brother is watching. It's a fact, and I don't like it. I think it's intrusive. I don't think they need to be tracking our every move. And I understand that some of the installations are specific. They're finding flock cameras in front of gun stores, shooting ranges. This is not some random choice that they said, I'll just put a flock camera here. I didn't know there's a gun range. I'm shocked. The point is, it seems to be specific to certain pieces of information they want to get. I don't like it. When I'm in the UK, I've hated the fact that there's a camera at every 5 feet, it feels like. Everywhere you look, they're surveilling you. I don't want to live like that.
It's out of control, and it needs to stop, ladies and gentlemen. But I will say I'm not really for the violation of private property. The problem is that police are using these cameras and these networks to keep track of it and bust people. And most people charged are faced with felonies, not misdemeanors for this. So they're taking the game seriously, and the war is on. And I think that they're right on the problem. I think their remedy of cutting the cables and doing all this isn't the way to go. I think they make the problem worse, because then they turn into criminals too. It's a disaster, Lance.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Although I have to say, sometimes you have to do what you've got to do. Sometimes good men have to do bad things, Sam. That's what I'll tell you.
There you go. Lance Migliaccio, we'll talk soon, my friend.
Thank you very much.
I got a quick final story. He has to jump to his next program. He does the Big Mig with George Ballantine. They do a great job on the Big Mig. Check it out. It's everywhere. Just look for the Big Mig. You'll find it. If you don't, you're living under a rock. Last topic that I want to highlight before the end of the hour. Several Wall Street trading firms are now purchasing, quote, early access to posts on Truth Social. They're paying between $60,000 and $100,000 a month for insights into market influencing early details, primarily from Trump. Now, this to me is a concern, folks. You've got the president of the United States who has insider knowledge, making claims, then you have companies paying $60 to $100,000 a month to get early access to this information. And the question is, what can they do in the stock market? What can they do in the buy and sell world? I really wanted to get a chance to talk to Lance about that one, but we'll have to save it for another day. I'm just telling you, this is very concerning in my opinion. It's not a good plan. It gives unequal access to people, and it gives people insider trading, where they can make moves and change markets, and it's very, very dangerous. And you say, well, it's Trump. It's okay. Well, if you're a Trump lover, yes. But what happens when the next president does something similar? What happens when they tie it to crypto? And then what happens when these networks somehow have a public-facing legitimate organization, but then on the back end, these criminal networks we talked about that Kash Patel wants to stop? What happens when they get early access to information? See, it's going to go south in a hurry. There's some very, very concerning things happening. Hegseth also advocates for a record $1.5 trillion budget, for war. He wants to say this historic request was presented as a tribute to the late Senator Lindsey Graham. Hegseth criticized previous woke leadership, and he commended Graham's fight against left-wing ideology. At the end of the day, it's insane. They're now literally pushing for, folks, a $1.5 trillion budget for war. Now, when it was $1 trillion, Trump said we should chop it in half and get out of war. Now they want to triple it and go the opposite direction. It's a sad tale, to say the least, ladies and gentlemen. And sadly, I'm predicting more war, not less. If they really need to increase the war budget that much, you think it's because of less war? Don't fool yourself, folks. It's unconstitutional, it's immoral, and it's unjust. By the way, the presidential decoy, everybody's mad Clinton did it, but Clinton let the media know. And now they're saying Donald did it and he didn't let the media know, so it's really bad. And my response is, I wouldn't trust the media. If my life was in danger and I had to switch planes, the last people I would tell is the mainstream press. So to some degree, I support President Trump in that reality check. He wants to stay alive. People, do you blame him? All right, I'm Sam Bushman. That's a wrap. Hard-hitting news the networks refuse to use. It's everywhere. LibertyRoundtable.com, X, Rumble, YouTube, Truth Social. Spread the word, share the love. Hard-hitting news the networks refuse to use. That's what we're known for, and I'm Sam Bushman. God save our constitutional republic.